Hi, and welcome to Droplets of Love, the segment of my podcast, Love Dripping from the Walls, where I just give you a little snippet, droplet of love every single Friday. So thank you so much for joining me here. A little orders of business. First of all, my name is Elizabeth Cunningham. I am a love, sex, and relationship coach, and I host the podcast, Love Dripping from the Walls. If you want to follow me on social media, you can follow me on Els Cunningham, Instagram, ELZ Cunningham, or you can follow the podcast, Love Dripping from the Walls, on Instagram. I am also on Facebook and YouTube under the name Elizabeth Cunningham-Love Empire. And if you want to reach out to me personally, I would love to hear from you. One of my favorite things is to talk to students, viewers, other people who work inside of this industry about love, sex, and relationships. It's literally my favorite thing to talk about. That's why, one of the reasons why I have this podcast is because I just love talking about these subjects. So please feel free to reach out to me at lovedrippingfromthewalls@gmail.com. I have a new website. It's elizabethannCunningham.com. You can go and tell me how terrible it is right now. It is under construction, but you can definitely go visit it, and you can also find all the platforms that I just mentioned on this website as well. So thank you all so much for joining me for this droplet of love. And today, just a little bit of a disclaimer about before we start here. The topic today is fairness. And the disclaimer that I wanted to say, first of all, under the topic of fairness, is that I am speaking specifically about healthy relationships, or healthy relationships that have kind of teetered into the unhealthy. Things aren't working how they used to be. Things aren't working the way that you want it to be. But still underlying all of that is that you have a healthy relationship with two healthy individuals. I am not a doctor. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a therapist. This is not a replacement for any sort of medical treatment at all. So that being said, and I also, if you are someone who is in a relationship that is an abusive relationship, this is also not the droplet of love for you, my darling. I would highly recommend reaching out to a professional. If you are in an abusive relationship, I would highly, highly urge you to reach out to a professional, reach out to someone that you trust, reach out to a domestic violence center hotlines. Please seek help under that specific topic. This topic today will actually not benefit you if you are in an abusive relationship. So I urge you to seek the help that you need. And I love you. And if you need to confide in someone, please reach out to me. So with that being said, the topic today is fairness. And so I wanted to say a little bit about what we traditionally think of as fair. For those of you who are watching me on YouTube, I'm just reading over my notes here. So what we traditionally think of as fairness is considered with I, myself, me. That wasn't fair to me. I was treated unfairly. That situation was unfair for me specifically. And so I want to broaden this topic of fairness outside of you. I want you to take the impetus off of you and your experience. Now, I'm not invalidating your experience. I'm not saying that you're wrong at all. I just want to look at this from a different angle rather than just focusing on what has happened to you specifically. So that something has happened to you that shouldn't have happened, or people should know better than to treat you a certain way, or you don't deserve to be treated that way, all of that is valid. But that's not what I'm talking about in fairness today. So consider looking at a fairness vantage point outside of yourself. What if we looked at what is the best outcome as a whole in this situation? So take an area of your life right now that you see as being unfair. Maybe that's with a partner, maybe it's with a colleague, maybe it's with a child or a parent. Just take one situation in your life that you see as currently being unfair. Think of something specific, like a specific situation, like not just that relationship, but something specific. Like, what is it about that relationship, or was it a specific instance? Was it a specific conversation? Is it an ongoing conversation? Think of something really, really specific inside of that relationship. So you may be justified by this feeling of unfairness. However, consider all points of view in this situation. Who is benefiting from you being stuck in this is just unfair? Is there anyone benefiting from the situation of you being stuck inside of the conversation that this is unfair or they treated me unfairly? Who's suffering in this situation? Who specifically is being impacted by this? What relationships are also being halted or stuck or impacted in some way? If it's a relationship, if the unfairness is from a relationship with your child, is your partner now also being impacted? If the relationship was with your parent, are your children also being impacted? What other relationships are suffering because you are being stuck inside of this conversation of this is unfair? Now, again, your unfairness, like this feeling of it being unfair, is a completely valid feeling. And sometimes we just really want to hold on to those feelings. And again, I just want to ask you to just step outside of that. Consider different and alternative ways of looking at this situation, and consider the other people who are being impacted by the situation, whether it be your partner, your kids, your parents, a business partner, your colleagues. What other relationships are being impacted negatively, or being stuck or held back because of what's going on? So I would guess that you and the people close to you and the situation are the ones being most negatively impacted by being stuck in how this isn't fair, right? And think of other consequences. Are you getting what you want out of this situation? And my guess is that you aren't. My guess is that you being stuck and this is unfair, that you are not getting what you want out of this situation, and possibly no one else is getting what they want either, especially if you're staying stuck and stagnant. That is impacting your relationships, and so they're not getting what they want either, because I would guess that most people in your life don't want you to be stuck, right? So let's for a moment set aside the outcome that would be most quote unquote fair, and consider the outcome that would work for everyone. Because my guess is that there's an outcome that you've had your mind set on. Like, you want this specific person to apologize. You want this specific outcome. You want this to happen, and that's not happening, and so therefore it's still a stuck situation. So I want you to set that conversation aside for just a moment and consider the outcome that is going to work for everyone involved. What's the outcome that's going to work for you, your partner, your parents, your kids, your colleagues, your business? What is the outcome if you look at the broader whole of the situation, what is the outcome that is going to have the most, if not everyone, win? So after considering that, oh, and then consider what, like inside of that question, that inquiry, consider what is going to lead to relief, like that this, is resolved, what's going to lead to closure, what's going to lead to peace, or even what's going to lead to love. Imagine that, leading to love on our droplets of love. So what is the outcome that would have not just you, but everyone be set free and have things be back in motion instead of stuck and stagnant? Consider the outcome that is going to have everyone benefit in some way, and you included. This may mean that you have to give up your current point of view about the situation and look at it a little bit differently. But would you rather be stuck where you are right now, or would you rather move forward and move on with life? The choice is completely yours. And I'm leaving this droplet of love open-ended today to have you go out and answer these questions and take action on the things that you have been stuck inside of this conversation. Consider that as we open up this topic of fairness outside of you, that we go into a broader sense of the word fair. What is fair for everyone involved? Is it fair to have everyone in this situation be stuck because of a slight against one person? Or is it fair to everyone involved to find a compromise or find a winning solution that might be a little bit outside of the box? Consider that being stuck in one way of thinking has had you be blind to other opportunities that are available to you. And once you start to open yourself up and consider that there are even other opportunities, that they'll start showing themselves to you, and especially in conversations with people. Start with the person that's being impacted by the situation, not just you, whether that be your partner, your child, your parent. Start with a conversation with them. How has this impacted them? And what's the solution that they want? You don't have to do this all by yourself. Okay? So, not sacrificing, but growing. That's what we're talking about. Not sacrificing, but growing into the human that can have things work instead of have things stay stuck. Go out there and spread that love, harmony, fairness. Start to take those small actions of considering different possibilities, having those conversations. It is not always easy. It is not always easy to look for a solution in love. It's not always easy. Sometimes there are hard conversations to be had, and I have every single faith in the world that you can have those conversations. Let me know how it goes. Reach out to me, and have an amazing, amazing weekend. Keep listening and keep loving.